Welcome back to the Great You podcast. In this episode, we explore how small changes guided by expert hands can unlock a new level of confidence. We are joined by Dr. Shehzadi Kohli, a surgeon who believes that beauty isn't about perfection, but about also helping people feel fresh, confident, and true to themselves. We'll also explore how products like Resiliélle are making it possible for patients to see real results without drastic procedures or long recovery times. Okay, hello, doctor.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and you?
Very
Welcome
good,
to
thank
the
you.
podcast. You're welcome. First of all, how do you define true beauty in the practice?
Well, that's a little bit of a complicated question. What is really true beauty? I think when the person just feels confidence from within, which means that you don't have to hide anything or you want to change anything about yourself. You just feel confident without having to do anything. I think that's what really true beauty is, or God's gifted us with beauty, which is our own. Of course, we're aging, and sometimes we need a support of things. So that's why we are here, just to give you a boost, not anything more than that.
What's one small change that often usually makes a big emotional impact?
Well, okay, so I'll give you a surgeon's point of view. Of course, like I do
Okay.
surgery. So in terms of surgeries, we do, for example, changes for the body or whatever, and that makes a change. And you can see the way the person is dressing or the kind of makeup they put, and how confident they get right after we do a procedure for them. But if we are talking about non-surgical procedures, which we do in the clinic, I think when the patients, after we do a treatment for them and they come back and they say, oh, we are using less makeup, or, my skin just feels so great, and, they feel like... it's like a booster, So it's funny how we say things, we call them skin boosters, but it actually emotionally boosts them as well, So I think that would be, in my opinion, the little thing that we can do for them without very long recovery periods, and to give them that little boost,
Okay, doctor, do you think that confidence is something we can build or something we can find?
Now, see, you're getting into the psychological depth of things. I think, of course, confidence is something that you have within yourself, which has a lot to do with a lot of factors, your relationships, the way you've grown up, and everything, So let's not get into the psychological part of it, but I think if we're talking about building confidence with the way you look, then we have to climb a ladder, It is not just that, you're going to come to the clinic and everything is, of course we will help you, but it's a step-by-step procedure to give you those natural looking results without changing anything about yourself. Now, for example, if I tell you that I'm going to make you 20 years younger, you should be scared of me. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not, you can't, nobody can do that, and if somebody promises you that means that they're sort of lying to you. And so it is a process, and this is what you have to explain very honestly to your patients, that we will go through a process. And like we are aging, anti-aging is also a process. So that's how it is.
Right. Doctor, how do you help patients who are very afraid to try any aesthetic treatments?
I think that would be probably like one of my favorite things to do, not because I want to convince them to do something, but I think it's about how you ease your patients into doing something. I think you have to firstly be honest with them and tell them that, you're not going to change things drastically. And secondly, we start with the smallest steps, like the basics, So if we're just doing like a little refreshment for them. So I think like even a baby step is what I would recommend for them, not to put them through, like, if I say, hey, listen, we have to do 3 things today, and then they're not going to show up in the clinic the next time, So what I do is I make a plan, and I do the smallest thing in the beginning, so they get the confidence that, okay, she's not going to, she's going to only help me, and that's how I start with them. And then once the confidence builds slowly, then you can go into bigger treatments for them. Yeah, so that's how I do it with my patients. And I think it's all about open communication. You have to explain to them exactly what you're doing. A lot of times patients tell me, oh, I went into the clinic and the doctor said, they just lay me down, and then she started shooting injections at my face, and then this way you're scaring the patient. You have to make them go through this journey of why should this patient, actually this is not a patient, right? This is your, it's, they're not ill, right? So you are making them into a patient by doing a treatment for them.
Right.
So why should they lie down on my treatment bed, and why should they allow me to do this for them? So I think it is just about giving them that sort of confidence that I will take care of you, and I'm not going to do more than what you want. That's
Build
how
with them the confidence.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it's more about just going through with the journey with them.
Yeah. Okay, doctor, is there any moment that you're not going to advise the patient to do this treatment, for example? Okay.
If you would speak to my patients, they will tell you that I say no to them more than I say yes. So there are times when my patients will message me and they will say, "Oh, we're coming over," and they know they're not gonna get what they want, because I'm just gonna literally, have a chat with them or a coffee, and I'll send them away. Because a lot of times we feel emotionally, right, that maybe I need this, but I, as a doctor, have to figure out whether this is an emotional thing and they're just doing this just because, they feel like this could be their out, or whether they really do need a treatment at the time, So that is where my job comes in, right? So a lot of times, and this happens quite often, especially because we have this, with the social media and the unrealistic results that have been put on social media. People have, these filters, and they have complete body dysmorphia because you don't even realize that you don't look like that, right? Like when you're looking at your picture and you're looking at yourself in the mirror, it's like they're two different people. And so I think it's very important for me as a doctor to make them realize that, hey, you're beautiful the way you are, and sometimes maybe you think that you need something, but you don't really need it. So I send them away a lot.
When it comes to maintaining this long-term result, what do you trust the most, treatment or technologies?
Okay, so I think there's so the great thing about anti-aging is that we have in the recent past, because aesthetic medicine has gone to a different level, right? So we have technologies which have come in, which are a great support system for us. So we have a huge palette, and which I think is amazing because, we benefit from it in terms of giving patients shorter recovery times, and patients, of course, benefit from it because they have better results, right? And so remember the fact that these are support systems, right? So we are not talking about surgeries. We are talking about non-surgical treatments. So initially, we started off with growth factors, which came from, let's say, plasma, PRP. Then we got stem cells, and now we have the exosomes, which I think are great, right? Of course, we're speaking about the Resiliélle Exosomes, and I find them absolutely great. I've been using them for a while. My patients are really happy with it. I get voice notes from them sometimes saying, "What is this magic potion you used on us today?" And these are patients who we've done various treatments for. And so when you hear something like this about a particular treatment that you've done for a patient, then you get your confidence in the product, right? Because we're sort of using it for them. And so I think that's what I would,
Right. Okay, doctor, can you tell us now, why do you trust Resiliélle for your treatments?
I think we have so many different products which are available, right? Especially in terms of exosomes. There are exosomes which are coming from plants and different sources, and you're just, and it just makes me wonder whether, where are they exactly coming from? With Resiliélle, I'm confident about the source of where it's coming from, right? And why I think it's great is because when I do a procedure for a patient, which would be microneedling or a laser treatment, or it could be radiofrequency microneedling, and we apply these exosomes for the patient as a support system for renewal and sort of rejuvenation. I find that it works beautifully for them, and patients see a change in their skin quality just after even the first treatment. Of course, we do a series of treatments, and you have to be, like I said, these are very good products to have as a support system again.
Right.
And so if you explain to the patient that this is not we're not magicians, right? It is going to give you realistic, reliable results, and these things work over a period of time. So we are talking about long-term anti-aging. We're not talking about short-term. And so I think this is what you have to tell them, and I think they're quite happy with that, because everybody wants to this word longevity, right? Everyone wants that now.
It's also life exosome.
Exactly, so everyone is going in for the longevity, and they want to anti-age without looking unnatural. So I think that's why I would...
Because 90% of the exosomes now, they are only growth factors, additives. They are
exactly,
no,
Yes. So I think this is something that we have to educate the patients about, right? Like where we are getting them from, and how they are manufactured, how they are derived. I think these are important things that you have to educate the patient. So I think, like, when I was choosing the exosomes, I went through a series of them till I was confident with the ones that I'm using at the moment, and that's how it is. So
this Resiliélle, for example, the vial, we are using it for the face and hair, or separately we are using it for face and hair, and what kind of candidates, what kind of treatments we are using it on?
I think this is a little bit more of a complicated question. Like, so every patient is different, right? So when you decide which treatments to do for them, you tailor-made them. Exosomes can be used with, let's say, microneedling, or with the radiofrequency microneedling, and we apply them topically. This is done for the face and neck. I do them as scalp treatments for hair as well, to sort of regenerate your hair. And then, of course, I use them a lot for scar treatments, which is post surgeries, right? Right. So when I have a fresh scar, for example, for an abdominoplasty patient, we see that the patient, especially in this part of the world, where patients get hypertrophic scars, or they get big hyperpigmented scars, or even keloids, we see that the patients have a better recovery with the exosomes. I use them a lot for even stretch marks postpartum, where after the mother delivers the baby, she has stretch marks on her tummy, and after microneedling and applying these exosomes, I've seen really good results with that as well. So these are the areas where I would say I'm using them mostly.
Okay, doctor, what's the moment that you will know that the patient has truly changed?
Oh, you mean like in confidence? Or?
Yes, confident.
So we have like these very nice moments in the clinic sometimes. I have a mirror which is on my table, and sometimes when the patients will just catch a reflection of themselves in the mirror, they'll smile, and that's when they're, and it's just the way actually they even start dressing, and the way, they, aura, I guess, it changes, so you feel that, I did something, or we did something good for them, and that's how I know.
How does it feel when you help someone feel beautiful again?
We're blessed actually that we are able to do these things for our patients. I think a lot of times, of course, we do our treatments and all of that, but I think it's also about just having that sort of a relationship with your patient where you make them feel good. Like how you and me are sitting and having a chat. I would sit and chat with my patients like that, and I think that's how. Yes, so it is rewarding in that sense that, or like when you see the patient coming back and 5 of their family members walking in behind them, that's when you know that you did your job well.
Right. Okay, doctor, how do you explain the difference between a good product and a great one, but like Resiliélle?
I think we're looking at, if we talk about between great and good, it's about long-term results, right? So I think that's where we distinguish both things. So there could be products which, sort of give you that change maybe for like a week or 2 weeks, but if we talk about longevity and long-term results, then I think that's what a great product would be.
Right. So what do you say to the patient that they are already afraid after the treatment will be done?
So done up looks, right? Which patients should be afraid of, by the way. We have, unfortunately, practitioners over here, especially in this part of the world, where, they are injecting the patient with 20 ml of filler or whatever and giving them, saying that they will look natural, but of course it's not, right? So I think this is just something that you have to explain to them, that exosomes are not, we're not adding anything, we're just rejuvenating, because it is just applied literally on the surface of the skin, and it's just going to sort of improve the quality of your skin without changing anything about it, right? So I think that's what you have to explain to them. And patients should be afraid of being done up here. So I think choose your practitioner wisely would be my answer to this one.
Okay, doctor, can you tell us now what's your rule before starting any treatment?
So a lot of times, like I said, patients want something because they see that it's like a viral treatment or something which is trending on Instagram, or some very famous person has posted about it, and they say, oh, I want it, but it may not be the right treatment for them, right? It's not something which which would do good for them. So I think what you have to explain to the patients very honestly is that if you want a treatment, it should be because there should be a good change with it, and not because they feel the pressure of social media or their peers to do it. So I think that would be how I would.
That was very interesting podcast, doctor, with you. Thank you so much for joining us. It was very good moment to have you today in the Great You podcast, and thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Thank you. And I will just emphasize again on the last point.
Yes.
Choose your practitioner wisely. And this is what I would say in the end.
Okay, thanks everyone for watching this interesting episode of Great You podcast.